Mexico City, beneath the current-day capital of Mexico, lie the ruins of the ancient Aztec metropolis known as Tenochtitlan. The Aztecs dominated much of central Mexico from the 14th to the 16th century AD. And Tenochtitlan is considered to be their first official settlement. An incredibly sophisticated city featuring a grid system of canals and causeways. But according to their historical texts, the Aztec civilization did not originate here.
The Aztecs say they started from this place up in the north called Chiquimostoc. It was a cave, and inside that cave it had 7 different caverns. And there were said to be 7 different tribes. And the Aztecs say they were part of the 7 tribes that came from the 7 chambers of Chiquimostoc.
While Chiquimostoc was once thought to be a mythological place, some scholars believe archaeological evidence suggests that it really did exist and is located at the site of the ancient pyramid complex known today as Teotihuacan.
The place of 7 caves, we think maybe that has actually been located archaeologically at the site of the main temple of Teotihuacan, called the Pyramid of the Sun, which sits just north of the Valley of Mexico. Underneath it is actually a cave with 7 different spots that it extends out into. And that's where the Aztecs said their original ancestors came from.
In the 16th century, Spanish chronicler Geronimo de Mendieta recorded the legends of the local native population. According to their accounts, the Aztec believed that they were fashioned by a group of stranded gods within these 7 caves.
Mendieta wrote an account of Aztec legend. In this report, he describes a giant flint knife landing on the earth, and the earth was trembling and shaking as this enormous flint knife landed. Then some 1,600 gods disgorged from this thing, and they are responsible for launching Aztec civilization.
The Aztecs talk about the many gods coming down to earth and creating humans. They create them out of bone, ash, and their own blood, and they make them somewhat in their own image, but they make them specifically so that they will honor them and they will serve them.
All of a sudden, there is a description of a giant flint knife that descended from the sky, and somebody emerged out of it. One has to wonder whether or not our ancestors were witness to a landing of some type of a craft. If so, then the Aztec story suggests that at some point in our history, extraterrestrials created mankind. And something very strange was going on at Teotihuacan.
Located just 30 miles northeast of Mexico City, the Teotihuacan complex encompasses nearly 8 square miles and is dated to the 1st century AD. It is the oldest and most sophisticated city of Mesoamerica, an area that extends from northern Mexico down through Central America. The civilization predated the Maya by at least 100 years. At its peak, it was said to have supported nearly 100,000 residents. It was also the largest city in the entire Western Hemisphere prior to the 15th century, and served as the major commerce and religious center for the region.
The significance of Teotihuacan cannot be overstated. It is the Rome of Mesoamerica. The things that Teotihuacan did set the pattern for all other city-states after it.
The central features of the complex are 2 large pyramids. known as the Pyramid of the Sun and the Pyramid of the Moon, as well as a temple dedicated to Quetzalcoatl, the feathered serpent. These structures stand alongside a thoroughfare referred to as the Avenue of the Dead. Over 200 smaller buildings, platforms, and pyramids are found adjacent to the avenue. And there are thousands of living quarters just outside the complex. But as incredible as Teotihuacan is, no one knows exactly who built this metropolis or what happened to its occupants.
Teotihuacan, despite its size, has no hieroglyphs whatsoever. There are other cultures in Mesoamerica that were using writing systems. There's nothing like that at Teotihuacan. So we don't really have a clear history of what happened at Teotihuacan, and we can't really find evidence of their rulers.
We don't know who were the original Teotihuacanos. We don't know where they came from. We do not know how they were able to develop a complete, huge, complex citadel in the middle of nowhere and able to sustain thousands of inhabitants.
We have such a sophisticated site that embodies engineering principles, craftsmanship, art. Where did it originate? Where are the smaller versions of this? Well, we don't find any. So we don't have a progression, an evolution to show where this came from. And so we have to ask, where did it come from?
We become conditioned to look at these awesome works of stone architecture and think, oh, primitive people did that, and they used primitive methods with primitive technology. But we have to rethink the fundamental assumptions and come to a greater and greater level of understanding that the technology required to build these artifacts, in fact, is greater than anything that they possessed.